Welcome to Run With It, BC's only running fitness and health program. On this month's episode, we have back on the show Dr. Wayne Phimister to talk about gut health. But first, let's go to our segment on the film Amy. Check this out. I had the opportunity to interview award-winning writer and director Rusty Nixon and actress Debs Howard on the film Amy.
Tell me I'm sexy.
You're sexy.
Okay, who is that?
It's like Siri, but you can customize it.
That's weird.
It's not weird.
No, it's weird.
It's not weird. We're gonna do it too.
How are your headaches?
The medication is helping.
Hello, I am Amy.
How have you been feeling lately?
Hello, I am Amy.
I feel
Hello, I am Amy.
angry.
Welcome, Debs.
Thank you.
So tell me about your role in the psychological thriller Amy.
Okay, well, Cassie goes through kind of a tragic event with her mother, and to kind of cope with the tragedy, she forms a very unhealthy, codependent relationship with her phone. And it's kind of a story of how, technology can overtake us sometimes, and maybe worst case scenario of what could happen.
Hello, I am Amy.
Wow, you sound just like her.
Like who?
My mother.
Mother? Is that what you would like to call me?
Are we still on for tonight?
Tonight's practice, tomorrow's leg day.
He doesn't deserve you. Neither of them do. Do it. I just know he's gonna hurt you again.
I've been a little worried about Cassie. Where's Sarah? I need to get you some help.
You need to get away. You need to kill her.
Who said that? My mother.
Don't listen to your phone.
Hush, little baby, don't say a word.
It's reality. It could be reality.
Yeah, for sure. You never know. Artificial intelligence is getting so crazy.
And Amy stands for Artificial Machine Intelligence.
Yes, yeah.
And how did you prepare for the role? I see you running in the scene.
Yeah, so I knew that it was going to be a pretty physical role. So I just made sure that I was exercising, and we did long hours, so had to eat right, just because you got to maintain the energy. And then, of course, everything that you do to prep for a character, you kind of get into a backstory, create, the whole character's history and what they would have gone through to end up where they are in the script that you get.
And how do you maintain a healthy lifestyle?
Yeah, so the exercise I do, I generally love kind of hiking. I've got a really big fat English bulldog, so we can't hike very fast, but I take him on hikes that he can manage. And my fiance and I, we boulder, I run, I swim. I kind of just do a little bit of everything, play recreational sports.
Welcome to the show, Rusty.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Problem. So tell us your role in the movie Amy.
Well, I was the writer and the director, which is just the funnest time I've had in film, for years. They came at me with an idea, I developed it into a script, and then we directed the movie. Yeah.
And what was the process like?
Oh my goodness, that was a very time crunch, because they wanted to do something, but they wanted to get out there right away. But that just made it even more fun. I like having a little fire and flame on me, and it was just, it was intense. I had a very strict schedule, but we made it work. And we got the right team together, and it was a real enjoyable experience. So
that's wonderful.
Really happy with it.
Yeah, so how did you get the team?
I've been wanting to work with the PD brothers for a long time. We kind of crossed paths almost a few times, and this was just the opportunity came up. They had free time in their schedule. I did as well, so Yeah, and we made it work. They are just a marvelous team, those two. Twin brothers, one produces, one does the camera, and yeah, they work so well together as a team.
It's a psychological thriller, and the film, it turns evil.
It does, but I mean, in a way, it's hard to say if it turned evil or if she already had something that it just trying to kind of drew from. But it's definitely, it was its connection with a human that made it turn that way. So it's, I'm trying to leave it a little ambiguous whether it meant, because it definitely meant well for her, I think. The app wanted to be a mother, wanted to be caring, wanted to keep her safe. But when you overthink that, it can be really dangerous in your child's life. So it's kind of a warning for that as well, I guess.
Yes, and what was the feedback been like so far?
It's, yeah, people really respond to the technology side of it, because this is, I think it's just timely. The AI stuff, it's not new, it's been around for a while, but it's just gotten so good.
So good.
Like,
Too
it's gotten
good.
so common too, like, and we're trying to envision what it's going to be like in 10 years now. And it's, you know, and sometimes you need these kind of cautionary tales that are also fun, just to get everyone thinking and start a dialogue about it.
And you are, and being on set for long hours, like, how do you maintain a healthy lifestyle?
That's a good one, because I've done 12, 16 hours. I rarely sit. I've had a director's chair for all my films. I've probably sat in it once. In the entire, yeah, I just love, and my energy is just like, when I'm on set, I just love the feeling of the now. So I find when I write, all I think about is the future, because you're just sitting there and you're trying to prepare for the future. But when you edit, all you think about is the past, because that's what you have to deal with. You have all these different clips you're trying, but when you direct, and I think when you act as well, but that's when you're like living in the now. Everything that happens right at that moment is so important, and you just feel that magic of energy of being in the now. And that energy can really not wear you down. In fact, it feels limitless until you get home.
Yes.
And you collapse after a day's work, and you're just like, whoa. I think the most important thing is to keep yourself hydrated, drink lots, and then to eat light food. I eat a lot of stuff that's easy to digest, so I don't have a big heavy doorknob
Yes.
of food in my stomach weighing me down. Except my mom does this amazing chili, so it's my one week.
And what about sleep? It's
I also have 2 kids, so I don't know what sleep is. It's been a while.
but just keeping healthy as best as you can.
Yeah, as best as you can, and that's all you can do. And you know, if you need to do a cat nap, I know a lot of people who work in film who take a nap in the middle of the shift, and I commend them for it. I wish I could, to be honest. One day I will catch up with sleep, but that's, I try and get home, and I try not to engage my, because I'll be very excited still very awake, still very much in the now. You just gotta try and let that go. Do something relaxing, a tea, a bath, whatever it takes to just calm yourself down and get into the mood to sleep. Because otherwise you're up all night, and then, you know, you barely close your eyes, and then you're back on set. And once you do that once, you just learn not to do that again, yeah.
So what's next for you?
Well, I just had a baby. So I had a baby 7 weeks ago. And so I'm just going to be kind of focusing on just hanging out with him, learning how to be a mother. I'm slowly starting to get back into auditioning and see what happens. I've got a couple things coming out in the next few months, and yeah, we'll see how that goes.
And there is a message about your phone, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't get too attached. You never know what's going to happen.
Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird.
I love you, Mom.
I love you too.
Joining me is family physician, UBC assistant professor, and he's also a chronic pain expert and an author. Welcome back to Doctor's Corner, Dr. Wayne Phimister.
Thank you, Christine.
So today's topic, we're going to talk about gut health. Now, this is a very popular topic, and you talk about it a lot. What is gut health? And how does it affect you?
Gut health, it comes down to this. Inside your gut, we have something called the microbiome, which are full of bacteria and other microorganisms that they actually outnumber the cells in our body 10 to 1. Now that just sounds like a ratio or a statistic, but when you actually think about it, in our bodies we have 30 trillion cells, give or take. So in our gut we have 300 trillion bacteria and other microorganisms. So the gut health is all about those microorganisms being happy and being healthy. And that's what it comes down to.
Is there good bacteria?
Good bacteria, bad bacteria. Yeah, I think that's a really good way of looking at it. And what I found in my research and also in my patients and also myself is that when we eat foods that trigger inflammation in the gut and therefore in the body, the bad bacteria, as it were, start to predominate and they literally run the show, which leads on to many chronic diseases that physicians are treating as a regular basis. And the amazing thing is when you start to be educated and then imply a different lifestyle, a different diet, the bugs change. And my personal experience, as is written in the literature, it takes about maybe 4 weeks or so to start seeing these changes. And when you do, some of the amazing things that happens is, one, you don't get hungry. Can you imagine just never getting hungry?
That would be good. Keep your weight down.
You don't get hungry. And you know, you don't crave certain foods. You don't crave carbs. You know?
Carbs.
You don't crave them, and your life is very different.
Because, you know, a runner or, you know, those who are exercising a lot, carbs are necessary. So.
Well, carbs are necessary. You know, carbs are one of the 3 basic macronutrients. You've got carbs, fats, and proteins. And carbs break down in the body to sugar. And we all know that we need glucose as the main molecule of sugar. And we need that in every cell of our body every second of the day. But the amazing thing is in my reading was, not only do we get glucose from carbs, but we get it from protein and we get it from fat. So we must get it. It's just which foods are we going to choose to create the best health outcome for your gut?
What about oatmeal?
Oatmeal, great one. I ate oatmeal for a couple of decades. Loved it. And that was one of the shocking things when I did the research and reading, well, what are these grains? Talk about carbs and grains. What are the grains that literally cause an inflammatory response? The big one is wheat. And there's others like rye and barley, but oats is within that 4 grains that literally do cause inflammation, and it's a tricky one, you know, as you know.
But I guess just in moderation and depending on the symptoms that you're having. So how do you know you have poor gut health?
Well, I think number one, if all our viewers just look at their diet, I would say all of us at some time in their life have been eating grains. It's just one of the staples, we're advised to eat it. And the principle really is not about restriction and you can't eat this or that, but it's more about understanding the principle and then removing foods that cause inflammation, maybe for about 6 weeks, so quite a restrictive approach, and then reintroducing the foods that you love, maybe your oatmeal. And then if you feel good, then you're good to go, no problem. It's not about restriction, it's about understanding and just doing what your body says.
Right, and you know, the Grain Brain is a book. Tell us about that.
Grain Brain, wonderful book. Plant Paradox is another wonderful book that I've been reading and looking at the research behind these amazing collection of studies that are literally showing our bodies are suffering because of grains, hence the title of the book, The Grain Brain, and then that focus is looking at cognitive problems, maybe like dementia or Parkinson's disease, and a variety of others, but being affected by the grains that we actually eat. And
then we don't know, like, until it's, you know, showing in our feeling tired or not feeling, you know, 100%. And then and how do you treat it?
Well, I just introduce the subject to my patients and I just go through the different food groups and I I look at specifically what they're eating and what they love to eat. And then I just give a little tailored plan of some subtle changes they could make in the next week or two. And then I send them off and give them the literature to read, and then they can, get more insights themselves. And how far down this rabbit hole do they really want to go? Some people are like 100%, they want to do it right now. So there is I get them to Google Plant Paradox shopping list, and then on there's a yes list of foods that you eat and a no list of foods that you avoid, and they can jump in right away and just follow those lists. And that's for I'd say a small group of patients. But the majority of my patients just want to take it a step at a time. As they go shopping in the next week, they want to maybe buy this oil versus that oil, or this flour versus that flour. And over time they can change their gut health by making better choices regarding inflammation.
Right, and can you share us any stories, success stories?
Success stories? I think myself, just going back when I looked at this early in the year, I was amazed at the information. I said, well, I've got to do this. I've got to, if I'm going to talk about it with my patients, then I need to know what to say. And reading a book and some medical articles is not sufficient. So my experience was around the 3 to 4 week mark, I just wasn't getting hungry anymore. And I removed the oats, I'd removed the fruit, I was eating avocados, and a variety of lots of vegetables and salads and nuts. Two nuts that are advised not to eat is cashews and peanuts, but the other nuts are all great because they're a great source of protein and a great source of fat, healthy fats. And I think just my own experience, which was tying into some of my patients' experiences, right off the bat, I personally didn't have any pain symptoms to focus on. I did lose some weight, and that's very common because once you stop the insulin levels of eating carbohydrates or grains as a regular basis, then you're going to start losing weight. So I think that was the biggest change on me. And then quickly, within about 3 months, I realized, look, this is not good. I was going too thin. I ate more fats, and I put back on the weight. And now I'm pretty stable. So
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
The book Plant Paradox, it talks about lectin.
Lectins, yeah.
Sorry. So what is exactly
lectin? So Lectin, lectin, is an inflammatory protein, and it's found in lots of foods, healthy foods. We've talked about the grains already. In proteins, a big subject. You can eat meat if that's your choice, but with meat you've got to be careful because it's in the foods that the animals eat is where the grains come. So if it's say organic chicken or organic beef, well, it's organic feed that is grains or soy coming into the feed, into the animal, and then that's what we're eating. So it's a very interesting tricky one, but protein, milk that's got casein M1 proteins, they are North American, North European cows that produce their milk. They've got this lectin-based, inflammatory-based protein. But you can take the milk, and if it's changed into, say, a high-fat yogurt like Greek yogurt, say 10%, that's okay because it denatures the proteins and changes the structure, therefore you're not getting the lectin load. You've got cream, so you like your coffee, cream in the coffee, that high-fat cream is okay.
Oh, good.
And also Southern Europe cheeses, like the Italian, French, Swiss cheeses are Southern Europe, and their milk proteins are different to North America and also North Europe. So that's kind of the proteins. And then, as I briefly said earlier, if you want to do this, you end up eating lots of salads, lots of veggies. But on the subject of vegetables, it's interesting that when we look at the nightshade vegetables, many people find an intolerance to the seeds and the skins of these animals. And I had a patient shared a story just about a month ago, and they had a raccoon come and eat the food from the garbage, but they didn't eat the tomato. And it's like, well, why did the raccoon not eat the tomato? And it ties into the story of what happened back 200 years ago when the tomato was brought to Italy, and the Italians got sick from this vegetable, or technically a fruit because it's got seeds, but and then they realized it's the skins and the seeds that were literally causing health problems. So they removed the skins and seeds and the problems went away. And that's probably one of the biggest changes I see in my patients, is when they remove the skins and seeds of nightshade vegetables, which is not only tomatoes, but tomatoes and peppers, which is the big two, eggplants, zucchinis, and even cucumber. And there's a few tricks of the trade, to learn. It's not about restriction, as I said. You can cook these vegetables in a pressure cooker, which will denature the lectin, or slow cooking all day is another way of doing it. But you can choose to maybe avoid these fruits and vegetables for about 6 weeks to just make sure you're minimizing the lectin load or the inflammatory load. So that's kind of an overview of the three main food groups and how it can affect most people.
So peel your vegetables.
Peel your vegetables? Well, cucumber I think is a good idea.
Yeah. So for the viewers watching, what resources could you give?
So if you want to read more on the subject, The Grain Brain is a great book written by David Perlmutter. He's East Coast, I think he's a gastroenterologist. Wonderful, wonderful book with hundreds and hundreds of research articles attached to it. And also Stephen Gundry's book, The Plant Paradox, very popular, and again, got lots of resources in there.
Great information. If people want more information, where can they contact you?
Myself, I'm freely available at drwaynefimister@gmail.com. We've got my website, waynefimister.com, for further information as well. And I would welcome any contact. And I'm also available on Facebook and Instagram under my name, either Wayne Phimister or Dr. Wayne Phimister.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, and we love you to come back.
Well, thanks, Christine. I look forward to it.
And I'm at the Vancouver Playhouse attending the 8th annual UBCP Actor Awards, where I'll be going to be interviewing some of the presenters and nominees tonight. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. If you have a question or comment about today's episode, go to our website on the screen. Until next time, run with it. Run With It is sponsored by BC Sports Hall of Fame, Craft House, Dr. Lucas McMillan, Dr. Wayne Phimister, Mallory's Fashion Network, and Rackets and Runners.